What's up guys, welcome to Shalala. This is a YouTube channel where we speak about history, architecture and people in the city of Shanghai. My name is Ivan Fetkin.
I'm Sergey. Hi.
And shout out for the cameraman Andrew. So today's topic is diversity, and we're gonna have a nice, I would say 1 to 2 kilometers round walk around the block. And Sergey.
Yes, diversity. So today we'll be talking about how on a very small space there are so many interesting things happening in old Shanghai. So you have mega rich people, you have very poor people, you have Russian orphans, you have people from arts and publishers and everything in one very small walk. So on this beautiful Sunday day we will start from the house of a very special, one of the richest guys in old Shanghai.
Let's go. Look around, what a nice place we are, and this is right in the middle of old Shanghai. Mr. Sergey?
Yes, we are in a very central Shanghai, and this is a unique thing. That's a very large estate that has preserved its shape and size from the old times. I think we mentioned to you before that rich people were buying the whole blocks of land here in early 1900s when the land was very cheap. And
it was a field here basically,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, before that it was just in fields. It became French Concession in 1914. And so this is an example of an estate of a very wealthy international guy. So this building and that building, that's the original ones. There were bits and pieces added later on. So today, that was the name of the gentleman was Henry Morris, Henry Morris, and he was the owner of North China Morning Post newspaper.
Oh!
So why was Shanghai newspaper called North China Morning Post?
Because there was South China Morning Post.
In Hong Kong.
Yeah, it still exists actually.
Yeah, in Shanghai it obviously doesn't exist, but because that was British newspaper, the first British newspaper in Shanghai, and that were the two kind of headquarters of the British influence in China. One in the south, Hong Kong, one in the north, which was Shanghai. Nobody expected.
Nothing for Beijing.
Beijing was nothing at that time. It was a tiny, small city with no real business. Yeah, so some of these buildings I knew. This one, for example, it's clearly a new building that was built in the same style. But just the sheer size of this estate is very cool. So this guy, Henry Morris, he was actually born in Shanghai. So his father made money already.
So his father should have arrived to Shanghai like in early 19 something.
He was born in 1870 already in Shanghai. So his father was one of the first people who came over from UK. And so his father was like a merchant and trader, and also started a newspaper. And newspaper really shoot off because it was such a big thing, and Shanghai was growing. And so North China Morning Post was a big thing. You remember there is an office on the Bund?
Oh yeah, that's them.
Yeah. Okay. The big office on the Bund. So that was a very prominent thing. But the interesting thing about this, that it preserved in such a nice shape, and it was not rebuilt during
it's
Soviet.
A bit renovated, but you still can see like original pieces. Like, are we gonna end up with that building with a nice glass?
We will see another building which is original. So the guy actually was keeping this estate to himself for a very long time, but then the prices of the land were absolutely crazy. So he sold a small piece to one Japanese company, which in the 1930s built one building which is original and still belongs to the hotel.
So how did the original owner, the newspaper owner, how did he end up in China, or he immigrated?
He actually, surprisingly, he did not leave China after communists came over, and he died in the garage. So he died in 1951 here in Shanghai. So he did not go back. But also interestingly, on this estate there are a few different things that happened. There were many big celebrations after.
Oh yeah, I do have a very interesting picture for you guys.
Yeah, so this building that we mentioned that they sold to the Japanese is over there. So it's a good example of quite minimal Art Deco of the late 30s. But I think we don't need to go there, because if anybody wants to walk around here, you're welcome to. But coming back to your point, so there was, for example, a party for the for the wedding of Chiang Kai-shek.
It was a wedding party.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, look at this picture. Look at this
So
picture.
that was in the 30s, but and Chiang Kai-shek and Song Mei-ling. And then later on, there was also a big party with Chiang Kai-shek and some American friends after China was liberated from the Japanese in 1946, 45, 46. Anyway, so this is also an interesting fact about this. Ivan, what was that?
Here,
This big piece of land. What
okay,
was
I
it?
know. I know. I'll pretend. Okay, I'll pretend. I don't know. I don't know, Sergey. Maybe it was a French military police training camp.
No, it was a canidrome, which was in the French Concession, the place where people came to enjoy betting. They were putting money on dogs. The dogs were
So it was a dog.
dogs course, and it was extremely popular. And people with not a lot of money potentially could come and make their bets, because in the British concession on Renmin Guanchang there was a big race course, and there it was much more difficult to get in. But that was for everybody, for people, for normal people. And another interesting fact, that this piece of land also belonged to the same Morris. So he was not only owning the main English newspaper in Shanghai, but he was also owner of this
Race course.
Oh
wow!
And this race
He was a
course.
wealthy man.
Oh, well, you're looking at his house. And
But
his
he's
land.
not Jewish originally.
No, he was British. And interestingly, the race course was a race course all the way. The dog racing horse was there till the very end of old Shanghai, till 49, and then the machine that was using there was a kind of a mechanical system that was
Holding
using
a rabbit or something.
a rabbit running around. It was moved to Macau, and it was used there in Macau till the 90s.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but today what we wanted to talk about today is about diversity.
Finally, after 10 minutes of the episode, what are we gonna talk today?
Diversity. How many interesting things are packed into such a small space here in Shanghai. Within 20 minutes of walking, you see a huge villa of a mega oligarch or a mega rich guy, and we're crossing. And also you see very many different, very unusual things which can be packed into such a small space only in Shanghai or in old Shanghai. And today you can still peel the pieces of history of the old Shanghai. Okay, before we go, Ivan, a question. What is this?
Oh, I know this. This is for summer when it's super hot, so
Yeah.
the wind can go in and out.
Exactly. So you
but the
keep
kids
the door,
cannot run away.
You keep the door closed. You keep the runaway. Nobody is going to come and steal your food. But you open the door and you create.
Okay, Sergey. You know what this thing is? What
Yes.
this one?
This is Airbnb.
No, Airbnb doesn't work in China.
Ah.
This is the thing. If you lost or forgot your key, you can always get it.
Yeah. So password. Okay, so this is a passage from the Yuanlu to Shaoxinglu. Shaoxinglu is famous for many things.
Mr. Andrew, show our viewers where we are.
Yeah, this is also a very good example of, so that piece of land belonged to someone like this Morris or
So here,
somebody else.
with two buildings, we can see that this is built in one style and this
Yeah.
is already different. So
Yeah.
probably it was two different compounds.
Yeah, two different compounds or the same compound that was built in different years. So you can see this, for example, this one is very, very kind of neoclassical. So that would be early 20s. And that would be probably also around the same time. So early 20s to late 20s. And these ones are already Art Deco.
Show the window,
The
original.
yeah, all these things are original, so that was like 32 to 35, because everything was booming so fast.
And it's almost untouched, like very nice condition.
It's in a very good condition. And I must generally say that Shanghai government is doing a very, very good job in keeping the old lanes, public areas in good space, in good shape. But if you go inside the flats, which we have done already on this channel many times, you know that it's pretty shitty.
Let's be honest, yeah, nothing too special.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we talked about it with Ivan the other day. So this is an example of a building. We just said that all the buildings are in very good shape, but sometimes you get a building all of a sudden it's not touched by the government, And like this one, for example. So this one hasn't been painted for X amount of years, and my theory is that that's one of the privatized houses. So it doesn't belong to the government, doesn't belong to the to the community,
Oh, okay.
but it's someone's private house.
It doesn't
And they
even
just
have curtains actually. So
Yeah,
maybe it's
yeah.
some kind of office,
maybe, and they just don't
aka
have
garage.
they don't have money, and the government is not painting it, not putting it into good shape. Okay, so now we are entering the Shaoxinglu, which is today called after Shaoxing. Shaoxing is famous for Shaoxing wine.
Yes, some kind of rice, yellow wine.
Exactly, for cooking and everything else. And yeah, that's absolutely, Andrei pointed out, that's a well. That's an old well, which still is probably functioning.
And legends say it's curved. No? Okay.
So this road is interesting for many. Shaoxinglu today, before it was called Rue, no, it was route. Some roads were Rue, some roads were routes. So that was Route Emmanuel, Victor Emmanuel III.
Is it a king or?
Yeah, it was Italy, the king of Italy at that time. It's interesting that this road was built only in 2026. Before that, there was no road. There was just huge estates, and so the French municipality decided to build a road here in 26. Before that, there was nothing. But they built a lot of buildings from 26 to whenever they finished in the 40s, and so you have a lot of Art Deco. So this building, for example, which is further down there, with the gray area below, that used to be the club of French sailors and officers. So it was like the house of the French.
Was it like
officers.
a nice lunch dinner place or like a bar dried?
But well, it would be like clubs. You know, you needed to go somewhere because there was so many restaurants and bars. So the people were going there to meet people similar to themselves.
I got it.
And so as you can see, lots of things here are Art Deco. So
Look at
this one,
beauty.
for example, you see it's almost kind of a Masonic symbol with. Yeah, you can argue that this is the thing that Freemasons use for measurements.
Look at this beauty.
Yeah, this beauty is one of the first museums ever of Chinese art. So that was a museum. Let's cross. There is a nice mosaic there. So this is a building that was built by the China Asia Arts Society, and it just had a different exhibitions of Chinese art. Because before that it was considered that Chinese art was not very exclusive, not very interesting, not worth a museum. So that was one of the very first museums specifically dedicated to Chinese art in Shanghai. Yeah, and these
original.
Original.
Looks like original glass.
Original stained glass windows. Yeah, because it has always been a museum and it was not really damaged by the Red Guards.
I think that square could have like a picture in it.
Potential. And the next building, which is better to be observed from the other side. And we're waiting for a car.
Wait.
Cercle de la Police.
Foyer du
Marine et du Soldat.
Soldat.
And this is a mistake. Because
actually, it looks like original letters, or no? What do you think?
No. But basically, this is only the police, Cercle de Police. That was only a club, policeman's club, because there is a lot of police. French Concession was a big area. There were lots of people living there, and lots of
mysterious,
lots of crime. So there were many policemen of different nationalities.
Just Indian.
Indian were in international settlement here. There were Vietnamese, French, and Russians.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there were so many Russians living here, so there was about 20 police officers. So that was a place where they were coming in. I was also told that there was also actually a police office here. And if we continue further, so this street was generally in the 90s and 2000s was very famous for all the bookshops, because there were some publishing houses that were located here, and so there were many bookshops. I actually remember in 2015-16 there were many bookshops, which now I think only one remains.
I think that the poetry shop, right?
Yes.
Oh, Andrew, please film this beautiful parking lot guy. It's very interesting, cyberpunk style. And
also this building is very famous because one of the most iconic famous people of Shanghai lives here.
They call the history teller of modern Shanghai.
Exactly. So this one is also another interesting location.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
So we are getting so many different things all together. So that building used to be a Russian Orthodox orphanage.
Let's show the guys the picture that we have. And Andrew gonna point us on this picture with like a red pin. So we're standing on the back of it, and the picture taken from backside of a building. So it was like in the middle of a field?
Yeah, it was, when it became, so this villa belonged to somebody else, and then the Russian Orthodox Church bought it as an orphanage and moved at first boys, and then there were also some girls that moved in, and then they built this building right here, which was a school building. So the guys' children lived in the back section, in the old building, and that was facing the road, was a school.
Sergey, this not great looking art deco reminds me of the one compound on Nanshanlu, the one built by a Russian architect, you remember? Not Astral, but...
Linda Terrace?
Yeah. It's like budget, art deco on budget.
Yeah, this one is also an interesting building. So that looks a little bit like Ukrainian, how do you call it, this thing? The three thing. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
So this is 1942, very late, one of the latest buildings in pre-communist Shanghai. Here also another small interesting building. So there was a very famous bandit, mafia guy in Shanghai. He was called Du Yashan, and he was effectively controlling opium trade in French Concession, and he was also controlling some of the brothels, prostitution, and he obviously had a lot of girlfriends. So that was
second wives.
Exactly. So that was a house of one of his girlfriends. But I think that, interestingly enough, so this building was clearly built very late. It's in the 30s, because you see they used to have windows which are going to the corner. This is the kind of Art Deco element of the very late 30s. Anyway, but the interesting thing about this guy was that he was not only a bandit, but he was also officially an officer in the French police.
Yeah, guys, if you like the constructivism or this 1960s, 70s style, hit the like button so we can make one episode specifically on this topic.
This is very cool. But unfortunately, I think this will go away and people will kill it and take it down in the next 10 years because it's considered to be ugly.
I think in 10 years, China gonna come to the same conclusion as Europe, that this Courvoisier and other architects from 60s, it's actually a thing. Anyway, back to the topic.
So yes, so we have so many different things packed into such a small road, which did not exist 100 years ago. And French municipality was planning originally to put all this road all the way through. All the way through the other quarters. Now it's just very, very short. It's 400 meters only. But the original idea was to have it all the way to Shanghai. But then for some legal reason, it did not happen. And in the early 2000s, that was sometimes called Lawai Street because lots of
this as well?
Yeah.
God.
Lots of foreigners like to rent here. And so there were quite a few cafes. So then now they are changing. So this place, for example, the Dean's Bottle Shop has been around since the early 2000s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's very, very kind of local. And it used to be an expat Lawai place, but not anymore. On our right, we have a library, which is a historic library. I don't know if it's open today, but we will try to see. And it's a very nice, it was the Library of China Science Society. So that was one of the first Chinese language libraries, which was built in late 30s, because at that time in French Concession, there was promotion of Chinese
Sergey, look at that beauty on the right.
Yes,
the small green Art Deco line.
That's a very nice. That's almost kind of. So this is the library. So Andrei will show. We can go inside, but there are nothing special, but lots of kind of Chinese and Art Deco features at the same time. And because it has always been a library, it was kept like this. Yeah, and this is now it's just some sort of club, part of the same library. There is a kind of exhibition inside of some Chinese unions
You've been
or
inside?
something. I haven't been inside, but I saw the pictures. But the building itself is a very minimalist, kind of almost Japanese style, late 30s Art Deco one, which hasn't, unfortunately, I think has been too much renovated, but still
It could be it's always could be worse, Sergey,
the shape, yeah,
with renovations in Shanghai.
keeps the shape. And also another interesting thing, which I noticed, which is an exception from the rule. This guy, does not look towards the south.
Wow. So
Yeah.
all the monuments
Yes.
in China should look towards the south?
Exactly, should look south, but this guy is looking in kind of west, which is unusual.
Those guys look the same.
Yeah. So here I think there is some strange anomaly because the south is there. Let's just go here for a second. That's a small thing from the modern Shanghai. So this building is a hotel,
Oh wow!
and I really like how thin it is. It's just almost like, you know,
It's like New York style, the iron.
Yeah, New York iron, or we have the Normandy apartments on Ukanglo. So it's a similar thing. So someone was able to get a very, very small piece of land.
That's a new building, right?
That's a new building.
Wow.
That's a new hotel. And here also, there is also a massage by blind people. I tried it once. It's a strange feeling. So the people are also washing what they used for the massage. It was okay, actually, quite painful. Yeah, so we made a circle. That is the same race course that we mentioned to you before. And there are some very strange suspected money laundering
Here's
operations.
the name, Andy's Whiskey Bar.
Yeah, there are two whiskey bars that
Right next to each other.
right next to each other, which are always empty. Sometimes there is one guy sitting there, and they have been open forever. So clearly someone is laundering money, or maybe he's just a fan of having a whiskey club and doesn't care about making money or losing money. That's also possible.
And it's closed. Anyway, diversity it is.
Diversity.
Thank you very much. Please share this video with someone you think may be interested in this topic, and keep in touch. Sorry for interrupting, guys, but please subscribe to the channel if you still haven't done this, and share this content with someone who may be interested in Shanghai architecture theme.